Hi, my name is Greg and I'm the pastor of FBC Medford. Today is Friday, August 11th, 2023. Welcome to today's FBC EConnect. Nehemiah was an Israelite living in Babylon during the time of captivity. He traveled from Babylon, where he was living, to Jerusalem and began this enormous building project, rebuilding the city walls of Jerusalem. The enemies of Israel did all they could to try and derail Nehemiah's mission. When all of their efforts failed to derail his mission to rebuild the wall, they tried one last tactic: religious intimidation. The enemies hired a prophet to go to Nehemiah to convince him that God wanted Nehemiah to take shelter in the temple because his life was in danger. Nehemiah said this to the prophet: Should a man such as me run away? And what man such as I could go into the temple and live? I will not go in. Nehemiah also noted that God did not send the prophet, but he had pronounced the prophecy against Nehemiah because his enemies had hired him. He was hired so that Nehemiah should be afraid. Nehemiah wasn't afraid because he trusted the Lord. Psalm 11 verses 1 through 3 says the same thing. In the Lord I take refuge. How can you say to my soul, flee like a bird to your mountain? For behold, the wicked bend the bow. They have fitted their arrow to the string to shoot in the dark at the upright in heart. If the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? The psalmist had people telling him to run away because enemies were in pursuit. And his response was simple: I don't need to run away. The Lord is my refuge. What has the enemy tried to convince you to fear? We're afraid to serve the Lord because we think we're not good enough. We're afraid to build meaningful friendships at church because we're afraid we'll get hurt or rejected. We're afraid to share the gospel because we fear that we'll mess it up. What are we to do? In the Lord I take refuge. How can you say to us, flee like a bird to the mountain? I look forward to seeing you this Sunday. During our time in the Word this week, we'll look at Psalm 11. See you then.